Today, I just wanted to talk about something totally different. I'm talking about languages today. So, I've been doing some research on languages that are Slavic and have roots that, well, they share the same roots, and somehow they go back to that German way of either pronouncing things or how the letters are put together, or just the sound when you listen to it. So a lot of these languages, of course, in Europe, are going to have either duplicates of the same sound. For example, we have G, but for example, in Hungarian, they have GY to represent the J sound, um, which doesn't exist in German, but we know that G can have two sounds. So they kind of invented their own J sound, and it's used, a lot, I guess. But they can easily be put into a German form of writing, as well as, trying to get out of that, like mentality that everything needs to have an indicator. Obviously, G, when you look at words like garden versus geography, there's no indicator on G. You just tell that that's a J sound, geography. So over here, I just have the alphabet set up. All of this is found in German. The O is O umlaut is uh, present in some of these languages. Most of them it's not, I found. They won't be needing the O umlaut. And something that they would be needing in addition to the German diacritics would be the Z caret. Z caret is something that is used a lot in Czech, Slovene, Slovak, Albanian. Now, Albanian has it in the form of a digraph, ZH, but it's the same thing. It makes the Z sound. Again, doesn't exist in German, doesn't exist in English either. So, in addition to those letters that do go well with the German language, we have added the Z. And this over here, this is C circumflex. It's not used often, but for the languages that use CH the same way German does, but also use it to make the ch sound. Obviously, again, they're looking for an indicator, so sometimes I recommend this C circumflex for the TZ. Again, TZ is present in all of these languages: Bosnian, Hungarian, Albanian, Slovak, Romanian. It just has different forms. Now, for example, these forms could sometimes be this. This is in Romanian, a T with a sedia, which is not common, and the sedia has been stolen from C and put under many other letters to make the ts sound, for example, like cats. Other things that, again, already have representation in the Latin language are coming up with duplicates. For example, like I said, G. In Albanian, it's the XH. You will never see a digraph with X like that, which is, I mean, these are cool, but they already have equivalents in, like Spanish or German or English, and these other languages, they kind of made something else out of them. Um, and so, yeah, other things, this WR over here, W isn't used too much in any of these Slavic languages. It does, in Polish, for example, come up as the V sound, which is fine. That's totally German. But they kind of ignore the actual letter V. So sometimes we can put the W in front of R. Yes, hi. Thank you. Thanks for watching. Yeah, and so yeah, sometimes we put the W in front of R, and we can just take that from English to kind of make use of W. W again used a lot in German. Other things I kind of wrote over here. So you've probably seen these if you studied something more than just the typical French, German, Spanish. This is C caret. It makes the ch sound in Croatian, again, Czech, a lot of these languages. This is the same as CH we have in English. They just made it into a diacritic instead of the digraph. This is S caret, which makes the sh sound. Again, it already has representation in English and in German, SH or SCH, but they kind of made it into like shorter words by making it a diacritic. C cedilla, this only has one sound. We have it in Portuguese, we have it in French. It makes the S sound, like center or cell phone, stuff like that. They somehow borrowed it and put it under letters like S or T, and this here also makes the sh sound. Again, really not the rule. This cedilla is just for C, and it's to help us understand that C is making a sound like S. So again, Romanian has put it under S. Has put it under T, and Albanian uses C cedilla, but it uses it like C caret, which is wrong because that's not what the cedilla is for. The cedilla is to make the S sound, not the ch sound. So even errors exist in some of these Slavic languages because they want to be so different and kind of, I guess, stand out. But in reality, they're so close to German. For example, again, Albanian, instead of using U umlaut, it uses Y to make the U sound. Words like mule or fuel. So instead of using the U umlaut, they're using Y, which, again, not used in English, not used in German. German uses U umlaut, and, that would be the equivalent for that sound. U. Some of these languages, not all of them, these Slavic languages, use Q. Again, Albanian. Albanian is like the only Slavic language that uses digraphs. And they use this Q as a rough K sound. For example, words like shake, shake. It almost sounds like a ch, but it's a rough K sound. And whenever they have that, they just use Q. It doesn't come along with U for them. Again, breaking laws. So Albanian uses Q in that way. I don't see it in Polish. I don't see it in Bosnian, Romanian. I just see it in Albanian that way. And again, I took that out because German doesn't use Q either. The J is the Y in all of these languages and German, which is perfect. The only thing they got right, based on German, is that J making the Y sound. Words like Yuli, Uni, Yanwar, or some words that have the J in the middle. Other things with Polish I found that were like totally off was the psh sound. Psh, which is represented by a P, R, and Z. Again, totally difficult for Americans to understand. Any speaker of German, French, Spanish to understand, because, immigrants come over and, they have names with the psh sound, and it also lacks vowel. So that needs a better representation as well. Other things that we really need to talk about is the sound. Now, I know a umlaut in German makes the long a sound, for example, apple or band, or dad. But for these Slavic languages, we could use it as the sound. I know Polish has Y to make the sound. I know Czech has Y to make the sound. But we can refer to the a umlaut and use it in that way because these languages really don't use a long a sound. Other things, like I said, the TH is present here, which is also present in German. They just read it as a regular T, though. Words like Marta or apartheid, they have TH. So I was looking at Icelandic, and they had this to represent the TH sound. What is this? It's not even a letter from the alphabet. I'm thinking it has some kind of Greek origin. It's like a slanted D with a slash over it. So they have that as the TH. And, again, why? Why are we making duplicates when we already have TH from German and English to make the th or the sound? Other things, making use of Y. Some of these languages just ignored Y. German kind of ignores Y as well. But we could use it to make the I-J sound at the end of words. So the first I was thinking maybe the AJ, the I sound, but I found that I guess maybe IJ is more needed because, we have a lot of names with ski at the end and they use Y, and that's only because it makes the Y sound along with the E sound. Otherwise, it would just be I. So that would be a good use for it. Yeah, I have it here. So strictly Polish, they had RZ to make the zh sound. Again, English speakers can't read that. They'll read it separately. They can never make out a zh out of that. And this is what I was talking about. Psh, PRZ. This is supposed to sound like psh. Again, we can refer to German and write it this way. There are languages that use both the ch and the ch sound, like German, the way German uses ch. But they also want C to make the TZ sound. So like machka or chirke, or other languages, kacha. So they would require the CH. However, they also want it to sound like khe. So obchod. Obchod, again, would have the H next to it. But what about TZ? Well, here's where the circumflex comes in. Nyots. Nyots. Could show that TZ sound to differentiate between just a regular C and a ch sound. Other things, really just, kind of, I guess, whack. An L with a slash through it means the W in Polish, kind of leaving out W when they do that. But it's interesting that, they're doing this. I think it's, cool to see so many diacritics, but it's also annoying because, we're going global and names are popping out everywhere. People have different backgrounds. There's immigration and, some of these languages, they didn't even have a form of writing, like Albanian. And people were just speaking it. They couldn't write it. There was no alphabet for it. So they, put together a system from whatever they knew, plus basic English, to make themselves a writing system. And they, refer to Latin because it's a popular alphabet, which is fine, as long as it goes along with the German, rules and the German sounds and diacritics. We can't have Y sounding like U umlaut, or we can't have, G just splitting into a GY or a GJ to make the J sound. There's no indicator for G. And that's just something that has to be learned. Maybe, I'm guessing there was a literacy problem in these countries. Obviously some of them didn't have a form of writing, so I'm guessing there probably was a literacy issue. So they thought maybe by changing, for example, TH to, a DH, or this tiny D with a slash over it, could make it easier for their citizens to understand and pronounce. X is here as well. I found that Albanian actually made a good use for X. They have some words with DZ and no vowel in between. So ledzoj means to learn. And that's with an X, ledzoj. They have that. I noticed other languages have that as well. Some Czech languages have it. I'm sorry, some Czech words have it. And Romanian, I think, had a few. So again, those could easily turn into an X, and we could make use of X. Because I guess, these letters are less often used, even in English. But, we could bring letters together into one letter. Anything else I wanted to say? I usually makes the E sound, so like treat, E, in all of these languages. Just a reminder, non-European languages cannot follow this rule. So, for example, if you're looking at Turkish or Vietnamese, they come from a totally different script, and they kind of made their languages into a European form, and you might see letters there that have diacritics that are unknown, and that's only because they have letters that do not exist in the Latin alphabet, and so they turn to that form, and they couldn't use the German form. But again, looking in Europe, all these languages, Albanian, Slovakian, Bosnian, Czech, these could easily be put into German form, and for the whole world to be able to read, and also make it more attracting, I guess. Again, there are letters that aren't used too often in German, and that's why X is such a good idea to use, or Z caret is a good idea to use, or like I said, the ch sound. There's no ch in German, but ch could easily make that ch sound, and we could still use the digraph. Other things, really, these are kind of basic. If you really know a Latin language, for example, English, you would understand. But speakers of these languages, it's like they have nothing to compare their language to. So they think this is the way it is for every language. And again, like I said, Albanian is the only Slavic language that uses digraphs, SH, XH, and like that. All these other languages have made digraphs into diacritics. My most concern would be this C sedia being used for other letters. It's kind of annoying. And yeah, really, I think, people, might disagree, or, say, like, this is how it's always been, so let's keep it that way, or it's going to be hard for people to learn something new. If we're going global, we need to be able to follow global languages, really. After English, it's French, it's German, it's Spanish. These are the languages people are learning. It's not Albanian, it's not Slovene, it's not Romanian. And now I know why. Because they break so many of the Latin rules, and they come up with their own digraphs. This very annoying. This is annoying. So that's why they're not popular. That's why, no one's studying Hungarian, because it has, GY, which is supposed to make the J sound, but we already know that. We don't need the Y. Yeah, so I'll talk about this more later. I think it's important because these languages have so much in common with German and can easily be using the German system. But, they're not, and that's why they're not popular. So, yeah, if you have questions, I could talk about a specific language if you like. And thank you.